Morning, guys. Hey, Will Totten here, Spring Valley High School. Going to give my topic presentation number 2. Hey, and a little more casual now. It's Saturday morning, bright and early. So good morning to you guys. Or, you might be watching this at, midnight or something like that. So good evening to you or good night. Or if you're like my apprentice, Jacob Ost, might be like, 4 o'clock in the morning or something, just because he's a wild man. But, I just wanted to greet you guys and say I'm going to be doing my presentation on building culture with Ohana, and specifically through the medium of chatter on Salesforce. So let's jump on over to the presentation. So before we do this, a couple of reasons why I wanted to do this. Obviously, we need to pick a topic around Salesforce. So we did that. And with chatter, and there was something that really intrigued me in one of the first chatter trails, something about actually how you can build culture with chatter and things like that. So that inspired me to do that. And of course, the idea that if you're going to build culture, I think it will always look a lot like Ohana. I think that's just an amazing thing that they consciously, Salesforce consciously builds their culture. And I think that's huge. And I think that's, one of their number one reasons they're a successful company, if not the number one reason. So that's my presentation. How can you build that culture with that through Salesforce tools? And I'm thinking, okay, chatter. So let's take a look here. Maybe. All right. So you might be first asking, well, what is culture? What is it talking about? Culture is not something that can be quantified, right? It's an intangible. The idea that, it's kind of how it's a whole lot of combination of different things. It's, I come from a school setting, it's like when you walk into a school, you should be able to finally just get hit by those positive vibes, right? The school's clean, the students are, it's kind of smiling happy. You see a lot of student handiwork over there. The teachers are smiling, they're interacting with the students. Classes are productive, they're engaged, they're hands-on learning and stuff like that. But so what does that mean? So that's what the school kind of looks like. That has good culture. So what does a business kind of look like? So, same thing kind of thing. It's kind of intangible too, right? It's the aura kind of the place, the vibes when you walk in there, or how do they treat their customers? What's employee behavior like? Is there good communication between the management and the staff? Does everybody feel comfortable that they can share their ideas? There's mindsets, right? It's kind of the similar to mindset, right? Is it a positive mindset? Is it, is it customer driven? Is it service driven? Well, whatever your thing is, are people passionate about what they do? All that kind of stuff fits into the culture, right? Do people like and love their jobs? Or how are the water? I think one of the biggest indicators of culture is what is those water cooler conversations looking like, right? Are they just complaining about their boss? They complain about customers? If they are, you got some problems then, it's the company's brand, right? Are they customer driven? They better be customer centric, right? If customers aren't in the center of what you do, I don't think you'll be staying in business for too long, right? And of course, it's the values of the company, right? What is the values? Is it something that, that you can really tell that they have their priorities in the right place, right? Is it on the customers or is it on something else? Oh, and by the way, if you're wondering why I'm wearing this hat, little aside, Spring Valley is playing today, 1:30, by the way, second round playoffs. So go Timberwolves. I'm ADD, so we got to throw that in there. So that's what that is, right? So that's kind of what the general idea of culture is. So what about Ohana then, right? So Ohana, is a Salesforce term. And basically it means family, right? And it's not just your blood family. It could be, extended family. It could be the people you work with, the friends you have. If you're religious, it could be the church. It's just whatever that you can do, right? It could be, it could be the people you work with. Sometimes you see them probably more than you do your own family, right? When you go home, you're spending 8-9 hours a day with them. So, and basically it's to find that meaning for business that goes beyond just, getting profit. It really is the idea that, we're all human beings on this great, Eden that we call Earth. And it is our responsibility to improve the world, build the communities. And I know one of our assignments was how does, Central App, build that Ohana. And I really do think it's because they are taking the time to, do this program for us. And, obviously certain Central, Appalachia's hurting economically. I've been for a long time. So it's really cool that if we can bring some of these, a little bit more well-paying, technical jobs to that. And that's an amazing idea. And it really does show Ohana. So real fast, then here's an overview of Ohana. It's just the trust. If nobody trusts you, you're not going to stay in business long too, right? Number two is your customer succeeds, you succeed, right? Especially if you're helping your customer succeed, and you can show to your customer, yeah, you're succeeding in large part because it's the Salesforce stuff that we're providing you that makes your employees, more productive, and it frees them up to deal with those customers more, right? Growth. It's a school. We talk about having a growth mindset of all time. All your employees should be growth, right? They should always be constantly reading and bettering themselves, right? And as a company, you should be looking to grow. If you're not trying to grow, you remain stagnant. If you remain stagnant for too long, especially industries like this, pretty much any industry now, you're not going to be around very long either. This also goes right along with innovation, giving back. We've talked about a little bit about already. Quality for all, well-being, transparency, and fun. Transparency is a huge one, right? It kind of goes back to your communication. I always feel that you should be transparent as possible with your employees and everything, and justify all the decisions you're doing and why you're making them, and also giving them input and feedback into it, right? So, all right, here's the meat and bones. That's a review of Ohana and what a culture is, right? So how do you build that communication, right? How do you build that culture with Chatter? So it's obviously first and foremost, Chatter is a communication platform, right? And it can be much more than Facebook. I know we've talked about this already, right? It's not just Facebook to share your cat pictures. It's a place a lot of the employees, sometimes if they're in meetings, they're a little bit timid to speak up at them, particularly a larger meeting with big bosses around, but they might have really good ideas that they will share freely on Chatter, right? So that's a big thing. Vision. I can't think of another thing, right? Everybody's got to be pulling in the same direction. You got to have that end goal in mind. You got to have that vision. You got to have whatever you want to call it, mission statement, vision statement, whatever. You got to have those core values. And really anything you do in business, you should keep that in your background, right? That in your mind in the back, right? Should be driving all of your decisions. It can also help with engagement, right? Talked a little bit about that already. Collaboration, right? Everybody's working together. This is a great tool, particularly for your organization. Is huge. We're talking even 20, 30 plus people, right? You need to get on Chatter. You need to create the different groups to get people focused in on things. Everybody loves to be recognized. Some people more than others. Some people will just perform well without, saying anything. A lot of other people need that external reinforcement, right? That praise, motivation. You should always do it. Don't overpraise, obviously, but give them a little shout outs, employees of the month, things like that. Oh my gosh, he just closed a $100,000 sale. Something like that we didn't think we were going to get from that cold lead. Chatter's fun too, right? It's fun. It's fun. And also too, with Chatter, it's flexible, right? If you're not on there engaging employees, try something else, evolve, take those small steps, right? Get feedback, change it up, mix it up. So we'll go over to a live demo real fast. We're going to do posts, show you real fast on just 3 in Lightning anyways. Zoom Like Classic has a little bit more, but we'll just focus on Lightning here in the interest of time. 3 main types that we're going to look at here, just the basic post, poll, questions, and also too, we're going to do this idea that you have to identify those. This was something I pulled straight from the Trailhead, right? You identify that executive sponsor, evangelist, and community manager, right? To really help get employees engaged with Chatter. So executive sponsor is that leader of the company, right? It could be, it could be your CEO, it could be somebody else, vice president, things like that. That really takes into the idea that you can use Chatter to build that, and they come in there and make all these positive posts or whatever. Yeah, it's leadership, right? No company or school for that long is going to perform well without strong leadership. So this shows that strong leadership, and that chatter will be something important to the organization. The evangelist, right? That's your preacher. That's out there preaching the gospel of why everybody should be getting on chatter, right? Nobody wants to be run into a meeting for every 10 minutes to communicate, right? Because we made bad ideas. Obviously, meetings still have their place, but man, for the small things or suggestions, questions, you don't always need to call a meeting. Man, just get on chatter. So these evangelists, they get that. They know why chatter is important, and they're out there preaching the gospel why it is, and they're making posts and stuff, right? And your community manager, people aren't going to get on chatter unless there's good content on there, right? You need to identify a community manager, right? Somebody, it could be a super user, it could be something like that. They throw out good content on there, right? Hey, I noticed a lot of young sales reps are struggling with this. Here's how I handled that, So if there's good content on there, people will go to chatter. If there's no good content on chatter, nobody's going to go to chatter, right? So let's pop over to the live demo real fast. And, looks like I logged out. Had a dev org pulled up. This is not bad. Let me. And so anyways, while I'm logging in, just to keep that kind of flow up, right? I told you just 3 kinds of things you can make on chatter. So there's posts and things like that, and they all have their place, right? To build this Ohana, to build this corporate culture. So let me sign in. Let's do one of my trails real fast here. Here, like I told you guys, if you didn't believe me, I have been named the cunning thing of everything, right? So I'm the cunning goat, cunning moose, cunning record. Little aside there. Let's pull over to the cunning moose. That's the one I kind of just do random things on. I kind of use this more as a dev org too than I'd really do as a trailhead. All right. So let's talk about chatter. So your post, right? How do you build a post, right? How do you build that, right? So this is something that you could, and the question. So post is just something like, what's this idea, right? We're building Ohana, right? We're building that family values, right? So, hey, I just want to give a shout out to Matt for donating his time feeding the homeless yesterday, right? Everybody likes praise and things like that, and that's Ohana, right? And giving back, and that's also the idea that you're giving back to the community. So, and you're making the world a better place, right? You can also say, hey, Jill went above and beyond yesterday with client Mountaineer Containers. I think that was from our Dear Admin thing, right? Or something like that. Mountain Containers, but I like Mountaineer Containers better, right? Good W today against Texas, by the way. All right. And we can put that in GoWView. Why not, right? Everybody likes that, Anything that is engaging people, if it's an important value, why not just throw it out there, right? No problem, right? So that's the post. It's basically much your basic post, right? It's your tweets, it's whatever, something like that, right? You can also do polls, right? So how do you build Ohana with polls, right? So how about like, hey, you want to build that family, right? We're all family here, right? So it's Thanksgiving. We come up next week. So, hey, you want to be like Thanksgiving dinner. Company dinner. How about we want to do it on Tuesday? Or Wednesday, right? So we can make a poll. People can get on there and vote, right? We want to do it on Tuesday. We want to vote, or we can do it on Wednesday because obviously I'm Ohana, right? And I want people to spend time with their family on Thursday. So, and by the way, I guess that's when Black Friday really occurs now because everybody doesn't eat dinner, together, or they eat early dinners and they go to Walmart at night or Best Buy. So, and then of course too, hey, what about this question, right? So this is the thing, right? This differs a little bit But that makes it a little bit more structured, right? Instead of like a post can be informative or it can be praised like I did too. If you're going to ask a question, just do the question, right? So what is the best way to turn a lead that has been cold for several months? Make cold calls, emails. So, stuff like that, right? Some of your new people might be asking them, like, hey, we saw some little dormant leads on here, man. And I think they might be able to get a little bit hot because I've seen them in the newspaper. They're doing things. They got some money, they're working. Why not, how do I re-engage? How do I reconnect with them? So you can ask questions that way, right? So really, this the idea that, just keep those, we're talking every company should have, I mentioned earlier, it's core values, right? Well, why not? And they should have these company values, the Ohana, right? Why not, all this is that, right? Make it customer centric. Let's go back here, right? Just the main important thing to remember is, let's go back, right? Keep that mission in mind, whatever your company statement is in mind, and keep these Ohana core values in mind with everything that you do, right? All right. My presentation has probably ran way over again. I get fired up and passionate about that. Culture is a big thing for me. I've come from a school that lacks it. I know how detrimental it is to student achievement, and in companies without culture, they're not going to last very long, or people will be miserable, right? That little website, right? Glassdoor, people, they just come in and go right back out. So really, it's use Chatter. It's a great way to increase that company thing. Obviously, it's not the only thing you're going to need to do to increase your culture, but it's an incredibly, incredibly powerful tool if you leverage it, right? So that kind of ends it here. Oh, let's do wrap up real fast. Wrap up. Kind of doing a wrap up, right? All right. Just remember, culture should equal Ohana. It's one of the best things I did, and that is, like I said, I think that's why Salesforce is so successful. Remember, through the best practices I sell, Chatter and Ohana can make work. Your employees are going to be more productive. They're going to be more inspired. They're going to have more fun on there, and your culture is going to be more Ohana-like. Right? Use the force. Thanks, guys. I will see you, and go WVU and go Marshall too. By the way, bye.